New labor data released today points to a stronger than expected rebound in hiring last month. After losing 13,000 jobs in February, the U.S. economy added 178,000 jobs last month, fueled in part by the end of a healthcare worker strike and warmer weather, and the unemployment rate fell to 4.3%. But that snapshot of job growth comes as new economic pressures are building. Oil prices are surging amid Donald Trump's ongoing war on Iran, driving up the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and everyday goods. The national average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gasoline reached $4.09 today. Amazon announced yesterday that the company is adding a fuel and logistics surcharge on third-party sellers that will take effect on April 17th. Last month, the Trump administration announced the release of 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to counter the rising prices caused by Trump's war. Today, Donald Trump's National Economic Council director appeared on Fox News, where he tried to blame Joe Biden for the high gas prices.
Joe Biden, he's the one who had the biggest release of the strategic reserve, and there was no supply disruption at the time. He was just trying to offset all those terrible energy policies and get gas prices down ahead of the election.
Okay, that was then, but this is now. And what's now is West Texas crude, which is what we produce here in the U.S. We're a net exporter of oil. On February 27th, it was $67 a barrel. And now we're at $111 for West Texas crude. I think the question there is, what can our economy tolerate? How high can it go?
Well, you can see that right now our economy has so much momentum that it's humming along.
Joining us now, Heather Long, chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union. Heather, you heard Kevin Hassett say, our economy has so much momentum that it's humming along. There are plenty of people in this country who don't think the economy is humming along, and certainly probably are not blaming Joe Biden for it.
Certainly not anymore. Not with those gas prices up $1, costing families $50 extra so far a month. So one of the big numbers that jumped out to me in the jobs report today was the wage growth number, which was the weakest wage growth we've seen since May of 2021. And that is happening. The wage growth is slowing just as these prices are surging, especially for middle income and moderate income families. And we're about to see likely 4% inflation again, thanks largely to this war. And the wages are not going to be keeping up with that. So you can see the squeeze happening in real time.
And talking about the squeeze, the share of working age Americans in the labor force fell to 61.9%, its lowest since November 2021. At the same time, as we talked about, the unemployment rate fell to 4.3%. How do you interpret that?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jonathan. I mean, normally when we see the unemployment rate drop, we're cheering because usually it means more people have found jobs and found work. That is not what happened in March. What happened is what you were just showing. People just stopped looking for work. They dropped out of the labor force. And if you dig into the data, most of those people, almost 400,000 people who just stopped looking for work, were young Americans, ages 20 to 24, who seem to just be giving up because they can't find jobs. And that's the bigger picture here, is just this frozen labor market for a year now. Where people, there's almost no hiring outside of the healthcare sector.
Mm-hmm. The war is pushing up the price of fuel. Talk about how that has a broader effect on other things like groceries and beyond.
Yeah, we're all learning about all the things that the Strait of Hormuz impacts for sure. And people are starting to see it, not just at the pump. Also, the diesel price is over $5.50, and that impacts everything that gets transported across the country. You mentioned that Amazon is adding the fuel surcharge. They are not the only ones. UPS and FedEx and the U.S. Postal Service are doing the same thing for everything we ship. You've seen airlines start to hike their prices. You've seen the baggage fees. I believe United and JetBlue have increased their baggage fees in recent days to try to account for this. And you're right, what's coming and what's building is even more industries being impacted, and probably agriculture looks like the next one, with the fertilizer prices shooting through the roof, and of course those transport costs. So everything from beer to beef is going to have a pretty rough next couple of months.
Let's talk about mortgage rates, because the New York Times reports, I'm quoting here, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate hit 6.46%. The mortgage finance giant Freddie Mac said that's up from 6.38% the week before, and the highest since the first week of September. Mortgage rates fell below 6% before the war started, but they have been climbing ever since. How much could those numbers I just talked about affect the broader economy?
Yeah, this one's really painful to talk about. I can tell you in February at Navy Federal Credit Union, the phone was ringing off the hook. When those mortgage rates drop below 6%, people were refinancing. That gives more money in their budget. We had a really huge surge in new home sales, new home applications. Things looked like they were finally unfreezing in the real estate housing market. And now it's just starting to really clam up now that we're back at 6.5% again for the mortgage rate. So that impacts people. It was supposed to be a great spring for home sales. We certainly had a good start, but I think things are really going to become a lot more tepid here as we move into April and May, and those rates just keep climbing. And that's been really unusual. Normally you see borrowing costs go down during moments of crisis because people flock to the U.S. Treasury safe haven market, and that did not happen right now.
You raised that point when we have to go. That is fascinating. I'll text you because I want to know more about that. Heather Long, always great to see you. Thank you for coming back to The Last Word.